a podcast interview with Mr. Danny Calafell. And just give us one moment because we're going to make sure this shows up live for everyone that's on Facebook catching us now. And give us 1 second while we kind of share feeds and do that. But Danny, thanks for joining, man. We're excited to have you. Let's see
Definitely,
here.
man. Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. And let me go ahead and tag Danny because he'll want to send it to some of his folks as well. And we're going to share this out. You're in for a treat because we have an amazing opportunity to speak with a former pro boxer, entrepreneur, and business professional. So I'm excited. Let's see here. Okay, Danny Champ. I got you, my friend. I
Yep.
tagged you. And let me go
All
ahead
right.
and
Let's
share
see
with a
here.
couple of my folks as well. So share to a group,
Definitely.
share here, share there. All right. When you are ready, we'll be ready.
Let me start sending this out to just
Everybody. Take your
exactly,
time.
man. We're gonna blow this up.
Take your time. But yeah, we're in for a treat because I met Danny this year and he's just has an amazing story and he really was is going to share a lot of good insights and a lot of good nuggets that I've already learned from him in the short period of time that I met him that are absolutely going to help any one of you that are interested in building wealth, creating wealth, investing really from a mindset standpoint. So I'm excited to have him and it's always amazing listening to a former pro boxer and their mindset of in the ring and then turn entrepreneur and business sales professional. So I'm excited to have him. But tell me when you're ready and I'll tell my podcast team to start editing when you are, brother.
All right. Let me one more and we're good to go.
Keep going. We want to
I want
make
to
sure
blow
we
I
have
want to
some.
blow this up, man.
Yeah,
I
we
want to
want to
blow
make
this
sure we
up.
get some good views. And we encourage you, anybody on Facebook. It's going to be kind of hard to really respond, but every once in a while, I'll have an opportunity to look down if you want to comment or questions and that. And I'd encourage you to get in Danny's world, connect with him on social. And I asked him his goal for this, and it's just to help as many people as he possibly could. So, in that mindset, knowing somebody's coming from a space of just helping others, it's always good to connect and especially with somebody like him. So yeah, excited. Well, we're going to talk about a couple things, and on our side, we're getting ready. So if you're just catching us on Facebook, thanks for giving us a moment. We're about to start our Five Talents podcast, and we are technically at 150 some odd shows, 40,000 views downloads so far. So thanks a lot for joining. And for my podcast team, you can start editing now, I think. Ready, Danny?
Let's roll.
Hello, hello. This is Abel Pacheco, your host for the Five Talents Podcast. We are super excited today because we have Mr. Danny Calafell. He's a former pro boxer, a entrepreneur, and a business professional, and he is just one of those super motivating, inspiring professionals and individuals that will last in your mindset for some period of time. I met him this year and just happy that I got into his world and super excited that you'd come and share a few minutes of your time, man. So let me turn it over to you, Danny, in your own words. Why don't you tell me a little bit about who you are and what you do, and we'll just start a great conversation here.
Well, like I always say when people bring me on, man, I appreciate you having me. You know, thank you. And just to give you like a snapshot, which is what I always call it, because I can go on and on about all different types of areas, but basically, where do you want me to start from,
Man, to just tell us
or you want me to just give you like a
what
snapshot of
you
what I do right now?
yeah, tell me what you do right now,
All right,
and then I'm going to ask you a number of questions about your background because it's super awesome. But just what do you do today for folks, and how do you help them?
perfect, man. Yeah, so I have a consulting firm where we basically we scale businesses. So we do that through strategy management consulting, sales training, marketing, and software. And I mean, there's a list of other services underneath it. We have about 20 services that fall under those categories. And we just, like I mentioned, we scale businesses. So we go from, Fortune 500s down to companies doing about 2 million. And mainly our like sweet spot, you could say, is small to mid-sized companies.
Hmm.
As we spoke before, I'm partnering with Grant Cardone, on that side, helping people, as well as number of different companies that I work with. I have relationships with some of the largest companies in the world. I've been in business for about 11 years now. So, this company I've had for 9 years. I'm also in the private equity space. I launched a company earlier this year where, again, I'm all about helping scale businesses. So, that it's a small group of guys. My partner's part of that group, and we have a large access to about 25 billion in capital. So, we work with, bigger projects. We're rolling out smaller programs for smaller companies and smaller businesses to help them. And as well as I'm also on a board of directors of my other partner's company in acquisitions. So we acquire mid-market uh, industrial companies, and then we scale those.
All right,
So
man.
that's
That's a
pretty much
that's
I'm I'm
awesome.
I'm in I'm in the business of just, taking apart a business and really finding out what's either holding them back or what's able to amplify whatever it is that they do. And that's what
Yep.
we do.
Yep, that's awesome, man. Well, thank you very much for sharing. Anytime you hear, individuals like yourself partnered with Grant Cardone, partners with access to billions of dollars of capital, helping individuals and companies in the mid market space or $200 million and up, consulting with, and then acquisitions of other companies. There's all these different things that go into that, right? It's people, individuals, profit, loss. There's business mergers, acquisitions, sales, financing, all the things that come together. And so you're in the space. And while we talk about commercial real estate and investing, man, there's so many similarities to all of this stuff because it all comes back to mindset. So before we talk a business, tell me about this time as a professional boxer, man. How did you even get, from there to here, and how did that all start out? So tell me about your professional boxing side of it.
Um, huh. So I grew up rough. I've been on my own since I was 14, and on the streets, you deal with. I mean, you're susceptible to everything. I mean, I was in and out of problems. I mean, constantly. Between drugs, alcohol. I mean, you name it, I got involved in it. I was just a wreck, and family didn't know what to do with me. Father wasn't around. He was traveling on business. Mother wasn't around. She was, working, paying bills, but not in the picture either. So I didn't have, you know, guidance or structure there. So what happens when you're young, and you know when you're young, you tend to, here's where I'm going with this. When you're young, you tend to roll and want to go in and shift in the direction of people that you can relate to. It's very different from when you're older, because when you're older, you're like, oh man, I want to be around people that are better than me because they can help uplift me or they can help teach me things. But when you're younger, you're you get intimidated by that, so you want to be around people, plus you don't know any better, so you want to be around people that are in the same situation with you. So now you're just amplifying your situation by however many other people that you're with. And in our group, it was about 18 of us, and it was just a disaster, man. It was bad. So I say this to this day, boxing saved my life. Had it not been for that sport, I'd either be dead or um I don't know, we wouldn't be having this conversation right now.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I got into the sport. My father used to box in the army. Took me to the gym, and from the moment I stepped in the gym, I fell in love with the sport, and my mindset shifted, because at that point, the obsession that I had to, I've always been obsessed with things, like of getting things done, to working extremely hard. Even at 14, when I was up to no good, I mean, I had my first job at 14 or 15. I had my first job, and so I mean, I've always been obsessed with just wanting to get things done and going all in. So when it came to diving into the sport, I dove all in. And for the next 18 years, I mean, I was around nothing but world champions, trained with them, worked with them, helped them prepare for, championship fights. My first fight was on ESPN, Friday Night Fights. It's no longer around anymore, but yeah, so I've been on HBO, ESPN. a couple of Spanish networks, and you know, within that space, I got to know a lot of different types of celebrities and entrepreneurs, and you know, I mean, when you're in the entertainment industry, you just tend to be around it.
Yeah.
Some people don't know how to shift into the direction of getting to know people. I did, because also I was doing club promotions at the time,
Hmm.
so we would book like the current artists to come to the clubs that we were doing, and I was
Hmm.
there. I was just, you know, hey, listen, you know, I'm getting ready to turn pro, and then at that case, hey, listen, I'm a pro, you know, whatever it is that we can do, we could connect when you come back in town, whatever it was. Like I was always big into networking and getting to
Networking.
know people and seeing what it is that I can do to help them and what they can do to help me and work together. So I built these great relationships, and then fast forward, that's what's gotten me, you could say, catapulted me to have the connection still to this day and be able to, do things at the level that I'm doing it and that I'd like to do it at.
Yeah. Let's pause here because this is so awesome. Just even hearing this in the first place. So your story is very inspirational because you have one of those stories that anybody can look back on and say, man, he came from nothing and created it, and you were in and out of troubles, what it sounds like. So like anybody can say, well, anybody that didn't have it that hard could say, I don't have any excuses. And that's really it. It's inspiring that of itself, right? And then, knowing that you kind of took your dream, made it happen, told people what you were doing. I am gonna go pro. I did go pro. You took the opportunity to network where probably some professional boxers, and he said, I'm a boxer and this is what I do. But you could kind of see past that and say, hey, I also gotta make the best of where I'm at. I'm gonna start networking with all these individuals, and whether you knew it was going to propel you in the future or not, you kind of took the time to do it. And so thanks for sharing on the networking side, to hear that's what kind of drove you to today. How did you even was it a thought process back then? I knew I had to network, or did you know what you were doing, in other words? And then how did you network? Just start at this basic one for us.
I wanted to be around the best, point blank. So like if us and I was very careful in who I stayed in contact with, because like, everybody would, like, when I say that I've been around some of the most successful people, like that's that's a case where I pick and choose, because like I don't want to be around somebody who's super successful, but then they have a lot of issues outside of work or the gym, when in this case when it was boxing, or the music industry or whatever it is. Because I mean, I had a record company in 2010 that we'll get into, but the point that I'm making is that I always wanted to be around the best, because I
Hmm.
knew they would bring the best out of me. How could I be around? So like, the way I thought about it was, how could I be around, like, and it's not that I want to say like mediocre. It's just like it was a case where I didn't want to be around people that I couldn't grow being around. So like when I was in the gym, I didn't want to be around guys that were just starting out. I wanted to be around the best. So I mean, I got beat up, okay, every day, but it taught me something, because I was getting
Yeah.
beat up from people that were better than me,
Hmm.
and it
Hmm.
made me have to step my game up. So it
Yeah.
wasn't a case where it was like, oh man, I never want to do this again because I keep getting hit in the face. It was like, all right, I need to learn, because obviously if they got to where they're at, where they're at, then that gives me the ability to be able to get there. I just need to learn what they know, because I
Mm.
don't believe it's 100% talent. I also believe that the work has to go into it, which is 100% true.
Hmm.
Because you got guys like Floyd Mayweather, for example. I mean, the guy out trains everybody. He
Hmm.
outworks everybody, and he is talented. So like, it's just, it has to do with the action that you're taking also.
Yeah. Yeah. I love it.
That makes
Uh,
sense.
100%. Choose your network, choose them wisely. And then the people that you do want to be around. I don't want to be around the average everyday or mediocrity. I want to be around the best possible people within my network because they're going to teach me more than anybody else could. And then in your literal world, that literally meant you got beat up. as you were sparring with them, and that's what I mean, literally, right? And now you're like, I can understand. Well, I'm going to learn from them and learn how they got as good as they did. And so you've continued to apply that, it sounds like.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man. Well, thank you very much for sharing. So, okay, so you were networking, in your, take us continually through your journey, right? You pro boxing, networking, promoting. Then, what kind of businesses did you run, and how did you end up to where you're at today?
So I started a record company in 2010. 'Cause I always had a passion for music. When I was younger, I played 5 instruments by ear before I learned how to read music. So like music was always a big passion of mine.
Hmm.
I just didn't I'm not cut out to be a music artist. So like I wanted to have something to do with it. The situation got presented to me from, you know, somebody I met, and we ended up partnering up, and I ended up partnering up with somebody else, and then we created, something. It was a music company, a record label,
Hmm.
and I was able to use and utilize the connections that I had to be able to transform it to, you could say, a lot bigger than it would have been through the connections that I had, through the network that I had built, through all those years. I mean, like I said, I mean, I mean, we're looking at 18 years I was fighting, and through that time frame, you get to know quite a few people.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
that's a pretty
it,
long career in of itself. I didn't realize 18 years as a boxer.
yeah,
Man, that's awesome. Well,
yeah,
anyways,
man.
sorry to cut you off. Go ahead.
So no, you're fine, you're fine. So like, just get, like I said, you get to know different types of people. You call them up, hey, listen, this is what I'm doing. You're interested in taking part? Are you interested in helping me out? Yeah, man, sure, anytime. And it would just work out like that. So the thing that I didn't like about the music industry in the position that I was in, because I was behind the scenes, I was like on the business side of it. And we had two competitions down here. It was one of the largest competitions in South Florida, um, as far as talent was concerned. And I had a lot of support from, between Sony, Def Jam, Interscope, Universal, and the whole issue was that I didn't like having to rely on other people in order for me to be successful.
Mm,
Because in the
yeah.
sport of boxing and in entrepreneurship, in some cases, okay, you're relying on yourself. So if
Hmm.
you
Hmm.
fail, it's your fault. If you
Yeah.
succeed, it's your fault. You see? So in the sport, when you go in the ring, it's just you and the other guy. So if you gas out, if you run out of breath, if you get tired, if you fatigue, that's because you didn't do what was necessary during camp.
Hmm. Hmm.
So like, and I didn't like the fact that when I was in music, it was pretty much the same thing when it came to me having to rely on somebody else, and I didn't like that. So we cut the cord on that, and ended up starting the company that I have now, which I never knew that it was going to turn into what it was, because originally I just wanted to have like another part in the entertainment industry, but it, we ended up putting out more money than we were getting. So it ended up, a lot more
Yeah.
time, a lot more money, a lot more resources. It just
Yeah.
ended up, because like I said, if you bring on an artist, and I mean, especially when you have a smaller label, you bring
Hmm.
on, you have like 4 or 5 artists. If they don't do anything, then you're not making any money.
Yeah.
That's why you see a lot of these bigger companies like Sony, Universal, those guys, they have in their, you could say in their stable, we call it, they have like 1,000, 1,500 artists. So now, out of those artists, how many can you actually count on your hand that you actually know and recognize?
Mm, yeah.
And
Very
that's
few.
the
And so that's why you
that's the
kind of end up.
statistic. Yep.
Okay, got it. And so from that point, you jumped into what you're doing today. Well, even then, when I hear Sony, Def Jam, Universal, you had a lot of backing, a lot of network, like you said, were also helping you through. But to know that you made a change for something better is pretty awesome. So what did tell us about your first couple of years in this spot and versus what you're doing now. Give us some insight here.
Um, So great question. The thing is that I like I mentioned before, like I wanted to be around the best. So like it was just a shift. So instead of being around people that were more geared towards the entertainment industry, it was taking a shift into my network and building a bigger network on people that were more into on the corporate side of business, you could say. You know,
Mm-hmm.
my
Mm-hmm.
father was in the corporate side of business. You know, he was working with, you know, huge companies, some of the largest companies in the world. He was you know, he was doing a lot of things with, you know, whether it would be handling, you know, sales teams of that size with them, or, you know, on the consulting side. So he helped shift me in that direction also. But then it was also getting to know people within, you know, the corporate world, which
Mm-hmm.
I saw was a lot more promising than where you know, the entertainment industry, more so.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I just, you know, when it was just it was I don't even know how to explain it. It was just like just a shift in mindset. It was like, all right, this doesn't work. On to the next thing. Let's roll. You know, it wasn't I didn't really think. I don't spend so much time thinking about things. It's just like, all right, this didn't work. Let's go. Let's just keep going. You know.
For those people that have a hard time shifting like that, what advice would you give them? What's the people that's it's just super hard? It's I stay in one lane and this is what I'm doing, and it's hard for me to change my mindset around this.
The longer you take to shift, the more time you waste.
That's it. Yeah, the longer you take to shift, the more time you waste. And so, what advice can you give somebody like to actually make them, to motivate themselves to move if they can't motivate themselves to move?
You just got to do it, and you got to be around the people that can help you do it. And if they're not helping you do it, they're keeping you from doing it.
Yeah, yeah. And
So
if
like I've built up this toughness, you could say, with, or discipline, which I had, but I built this up where it was like I'm very careful with my time. I don't want people around me that are going to waste my time. I don't want to be around certain scenarios that are going to waste my time. And it's just, you know, I'm very quick to just cut. And it's not anything personal. It's just that, I mean, listen, we have a very short time on this earth to get things done. And we already take up, what is it, 17, 18 years in school.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
After
mm-hmm.
that, well, not in school, but you're 17,
Yeah,
18 years of just growing up, you could say. Okay,
yeah,
between, you know, from when you're younger all the way till you're 18 and you're graduating from high school, you're 17 graduating from high school. You're not in school the whole time. But I
yeah.
mean, technically
Some
you
people
are. You're
longer.
just not
Yeah, some
physically
people
in school.
longer.
You're still learning.
Yeah,
Yeah,
some
yeah, but
people longer.
you're still learning. I mean, when you listen, when you're a baby, you're still absorbing stuff. Technically, as far as I'm concerned, you're just in your own type of school. You're in your own little environment. You're learning things. You're learning how to mimic things. You're learning, okay, this is what this means. That's what this means. This is why this is no. This is why this is okay. So as you're growing up and you're getting older, you're taking 18 years to learn everything, and now your life is starting at 18. And like you
Hmm.
said, in some cases, for some people, it's longer. Sometimes their lives start at 25, 26, because they go into university, they go into college, you know, and it takes them longer to realize, you know, what it is that they want to do. And then
Yeah,
once that ends up happening, then it's like, all right, now I'm 27, 28, 30. I mean, how many more years do I have left?
yeah. Be
So it's
very
like,
cautious with your time.
yeah, so it's
Be
like then
guarded.
you're at that point where it's like, now it's like, all right, now I have what, another 30 years, and then if I'm somebody who wants to just, you know, work a 9 to 5 or whatever the case is, I mean, I only have 30 years till I'm retired.
Yep. Yeah. 100%. Be
So people
very
don't
cautious with your
understand the
time.
time. Time, life is short, man.
Hmm. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you. And as you're on this thought process of making sure you're spending your time in the with the best people and networking and trying to figure that out, it sounds like you've been able to help a number of businesses along the way. Give us a few examples of some of the businesses. So you mentioned Grant Cardone, and we're commercial real estate folks, so maybe that one's a fun one to talk about. But it doesn't have to be just him. Just tell us about some of the businesses and how you help them, so we can learn any nuggets we can as well.
I mean, we work with businesses like across the scale. I could give you. I mean, it. I mean, it's never a. I mean, there. It really depends on what standpoint they're in. Some need more exposure. Some need, some need their complete infrastructure like revamped. I mean, there was a company I went in towards the end of last year. We had to get rid of an entire department. There were 13 people in the department. The company, the owner, he was like, "Look, I don't know what it is that we're gonna do at this point." And I was like, "Listen, um, you know, you're gonna you're gonna have to make a shift." And he was like, "What do you mean?" And I was like, "Well, this department's slowing you down. So it's either you get rid of this department or your company goes under." I was like, "Because you can't keep putting out money like this, and you're not having enough money come in, especially right now." And he was like, "Yeah, but these people." And I was like, "You can't worry about that right now. You need to worry about yourself, and you need to worry about the other people that are depending on you. So you're gonna have to make that cut. Once we grow you, once we build you up, you could hire those people back and more, but you got to save the ship." So, it was a tough cut. Went in, cut the people, got rid of them. And now, they're starting to ramp back up. That's one example. But like, I mean, we come into companies, I mean, there's cases they have salespeople. We increase their closing ratios with the programs that we have, with Grant. I mean, it's not only him. And we have two different types of verticals, you could say, when it comes to the training, because we
Mm-hmm.
have the online training and we have the live training. And we package that up as like a training suite, you could say.
Mm-hmm.
So it's one of the most comprehensive training programs you could say in the marketplace, period. And that's another aspect. So I mean, like I said, it varies. I mean, whatever it is that when we go into a company, whatever it is we see that needs to be fixed, repaired, or amplified, we go in and make it happen.
All right. Where do you see most businesses that come to you for some help? What are some of the common areas that they struggle in?
Sales. See how quick I was to say that.
Yeah. Hey, most businesses fail, or probably all of them. Lack of sales, right? Income generating in the front, whatever door that is in the front door, but
And
uh,
obscurity. The
and
fact that nobody knows
obscurity.
them.
Okay. Yep. Hmm.
Remember
So,
when we were on the phone earlier, I told you it's almost in 2023, they predict it's going to be 8 billion people on this planet. Okay. So when I see people like with a million views, I'm like, I mean, you're like, it's like a third of what the US is. This is the population of the US. Like you haven't even touched
mhm,
everybody else. Because the US, I believe, is 300, a little over 322 million.
yep. So lack of sales and obscurity. Nobody knows who they are, and there's not enough sales coming in. So, why do you think across the board, a lot of those businesses, it should seem apparent, but it's really not, right? They don't actually see that. They need some help, somebody pointing it out to them, right?
What they need help in as far as the uh number one, the resources,
Hmm.
and number two, the strategy. Because like you have I mean, whatever type of business you come across, they're specialized in their business and their business.
Hmm.
They don't know how to do things outside of that. They might know how, okay, they might know how to do it, but they're not experts at it. So they're not the pro. Like, I don't want to go to get my car serviced with somebody who does this on the side. I want to go get my car serviced with somebody who does this every single day and
Mm,
is the best at it.
yeah. Yeah.
Okay, they're a pro. This is what they do. Because if I go with somebody who does this on the side, they could do something wrong and my car's screwed. And that's just one example.
Hmm.
But that happens all the time. That's why I tell people, a lot of times when they want to go to the cheap route, or they want to, they want to do it themselves. First, you don't have the manpower. Second, you don't have the resources. Third, you don't have the right idea of the right strategy to be able to get you there. And that's
Yeah.
why I always talk about so much getting the right information from the right people and applying the right information, and making sure that that information is actually going to take you where you need to be at and where you have the potential to be at.
All right. Yeah, it makes perfect sense, man. I'm with you. From an investor standpoint, give some of our investors advice. I'm sure you see working with the companies, the teams, the people that you're involved with. It sounds like sourcing capital, a ton of it too. Some general investing advice that we can apply across the board, whatever we're investing in. How do you see some of this wealth creation or investing mindset that you can give somebody on how to be more successful at what they're doing?
Huh. Um, I'm starting to get into the real estate game. On the investment side, stocks I don't know too much about. I don't. To me personally, I mean, unless you have a ton of money and you're gonna throw it into like like a blue chip, you could say like one of the bigger
Yeah. Yeah.
that's actually more secured. I don't have much to say about that. But what I can say is that I see a lot of people wanting to invest prematurely. And the number one thing we ask when somebody says, "Hey, listen, I got some money, what can I invest in? What's your income? How much you making?" Because your income is going to make or break you.
Mm,
Because like there's no like people ask all the time, okay, what's the key to success? There's no silver bullet. There's no like, okay, you do this, you're going to be successful in 3 years. It doesn't work like that. There's no silver bullet. It's not like, hey, I could fast track this. You could speed it up a little bit, but it takes work, it takes discipline, it takes, the right information, and then, obviously risk. But, you want to make sure that you take calculated risk. You want to make sure that you're making the right choices, and that's not taking your money and dumping it into something when you're not making enough.
yeah, I would have to agree with you. I'm definitely thinking about all the time passive income. How do I create more through my investments? So that's 100%. I'm always on it. However, if there's no active capital coming in, then I don't have anything to invest. And people always ask me. A lot of times they're like, "Well, hey, how have you been able to continually invest?" And I go, "Well, I'm trying not to trade time for money in my passive investments, but as a wealth creation, I've got to trade time for money somewhere so that I can have money to invest. Otherwise, passive investing never happens.
Right,
So
right, right.
yeah, I mean, it just doesn't happen. uh, the income generation, even in your side of the, like, let's say from a business aspect. So if they have a lack of sales or lack of income coming in, what are some of the prescriptions that you give them for better sales? How do you help them
We put
increase?
them on our programs. I mean, I'm like, hey, if you're not making enough, like, yeah, how much you making? Oh, I'm making 100,000 a year. Well, listen, before you invest in anything, you need to figure out how you're gonna make more than 100,000 a year.
Hmm.
Like that's you got a bigger problem than trying to dump your money into something. And I
Yeah.
know I know there's gonna be a lot of people that are gonna hear. There's gonna be like, oh, 100,000 a year. 100,000 a year isn't a lot of money. You know, I know millionaires that are worse off than guys that are making 50,000 a year. I mean, just point blank. It's not. I mean, millionaire is the new middle class.
Hmm. I have to agree. I agree on the thought process. If you have $1 million, you're not going to be able to retire. You still got to go to work. uh
People don't understand that. They they don't get it.
yeah.
They're like, oh, I make $1 million. It's gonna be no. You make $1 million, you're just starting, buddy. Like
you know
it's 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 a lot bigger than that. And and it's a harsh reality when people actually get there because they get excited that they're like, oh man, I'm there, and it is like, oh, this is what it is.
yep.
And I've
Eh,
seen it time and time again. That's the thing. It's like this is stuff that it's not, I mean, this is stuff that I see. And I have very close friends of mine, like I said, that are like they're 2-3 million in the bank, and it's not enough.
yeah. Yeah.
I had a guy. I'll give a quick example. I had a guy that wanted to work for me, and it's a sales position. I asked the guy, I said, "How much do you want to make?" And he was like, "I'd like to make 100,000 a year." And I said, "Why'd you pick that number?" He was like, because it's more than what I'm making now. I said, I understand that. I said, but why'd you pick that number? I was like, when you have the potential to make a lot more. No, because that'll get me what I want. I said, okay, let's roll down what it is that you want. I said, so what do you want? So we went down that whole list, you know, family, traveling, the whole nine. And I was like, listen, before you get into all that other stuff, you went broke just taking your kids to college. Like you have to understand, you're looking at that money from the standpoint that you're at. But when you start making that money, your lifestyle is going to change. Everything that you're doing is going to change. So you're going to be living the same way you're living now, just with more money.
Yeah.
And it just
Yeah.
blew him away. He was just like, oh, yeah.
That man, I can see, and I'm thinking about the time, before I made 100 grand a year. When I was younger, I've, thought about this perspective too. When I were making 20 or 30, 40 grand, I was saying, if I can only just make 50 grand. And then if I was making 50, if I can only just make 75 and 100. And then, when I was 100, I was like, if I can just only make 200 grand a year, everything will be amazing. And every time you cross a different barrier, you realize, oh, you may have more, spending money. Maybe it's a little more comfortable. My car got more comfortable. My house got more comfortable, but my lifestyle, or the creation part of it was, it's still in this very, making it from check to check or quarter to quarter. If I stopped working, the lifestyle was going to go away completely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm with you. Well, so before you go, because I know it's timing wise, I don't want to take all of your time, but before you go,
We started late. We're good.
yeah, what advice can you give somebody that is starting out, that's trying to, get on this grind, and just general advice that anybody can take and relate to, and, give us some insight on how to be more successful, man.
Um, First thing is, I always say this: get around the right people. Um, you know, I mean that I can't say how important that is, because you're either gonna have people pulling you or you're gonna have people pushing you. It just comes hand in hand. It's just like, hey, I want to get over here, and they're gonna pull you, and they're not pulling you intentionally. People don't do things. That's the thing. When they say, hey, get around, get away from negative people and things, they're not negative because they're bad people. They're negative because that's what they're used to being. That's what they're used to having. That's what they're used to, that's just where their mindset is. It doesn't mean that they're bad. It's just like, when we're younger and we're brought up in a in the household with our family, and our parents are telling us, hey, listen, you need to do this, you need to do that, you need to do this, save your money, stay away. They're not doing it because they mean bad for us. They're doing it because that's what they learned. But that's why I always say you got to be careful where you get your information from. So I would say there's two things: watch where you get your information from, and watch who you're around. I want to be around people that are going to take me higher. I want to be around people that are going to push me. I want to call people up, and when we celebrate each other's wins. I want to call people up and they're like, "Hey man, what did you do this week?" Like, they're holding me accountable. I'm holding them accountable. You know, like we're elevating each other. We're making, if I know they have to get up in the morning, I'm not going to keep them up late. I'm not going to say, "Hey, listen, let's go out. Let's go drinking." Like, I don't even drink like that. Why are you going to ask me to go out and party when you don't have to be up in the morning? See what I mean? Like,
Mm-hmm.
it's just things like that. Like, just, and then the whole, like I said, the information point of it. Like, I don't want to be, like they say, the smartest person in the room.
All right. Yeah, man. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I think it's great lessons all the way around. Absolutely. Be around the right people. Be careful where you get your information, and you're gonna push your network up. I keep hearing this again and again and again from you, which is, it's no doubt that's one of the reasons you've been so successful, is just putting people that are better than you around you, learning from them, and then I'm sure applying like a madman, and applying exactly the lessons that you've learned, man. So this is really good.
Hey, boy, I tell people I ask more questions than I give answers. I'm like I mean, people are like, man, you know a lot, and I'm like, no, I don't. Like, I'm like a little eyedropper in the ocean compared to the people that I try to be around and I learn from, and mentors, and things like that. It's just, I mean, like I said, I always ask questions. I'm always researching. I'm always learning. You know.
Yep. Yep. Thank you very much, man. So, before we go, who do you want to reach out to you, and where can they go to contact you?
Um, I want everybody to reach out to me, man. Now, whoever it is that found this well, if they have a business, they're looking to increase their income. Maybe they're stuck in a job. I was doing shows. Stop for a little bit. I'll probably dive right back into. I was doing shows on Mondays, and I talked about business sales, increasing income. You have some people, they don't. I say this to people all the time. 3 out of 4 millionaires work for somebody else, so you don't have to necessarily work on your own or go that entrepreneurial route, because it's not meant for everybody. And it's not meant for everybody because it takes a special type of person. So you don't have to go on that route. You could just work for somebody else and just find ways to increase your income. Find ways, like we talked about, as far as investing at the right time, in the right things, learning how to increase your income so you can do that. And, people who want to do that, people who are entrepreneurs, people who are solopreneurs that want to build their business. I mean, we help people of all different types of spectrums. When I said small to mid-sized businesses, that's just because we know at that point, that's the point that we can get them further. But I'm not deterring people who do less than that. If they have the mindset and they have the understanding that they're going to have to make that investment, and they're willing to make the investment, I'll work with them. We'll work with them. It's just, we found that once they're hitting that 2 million mark, or even at least, I'd say a million and a half, like, once they're hitting that mark, they've proved themselves enough where it's like, all right, you know what, I could write you a check and it's not gonna. I know where it's gonna go, and I know the reason why I'm doing it. If that makes any sense. Now,
Yeah.
where they could find me, man, they could Google me. Just Google me. I'm on all different types of social media, you know, and that's pretty much. I'll make it simple, man. Just Google
Mr.
my
Mi-
name, Danny
Mr.
Calafell.
Mr. Danny Calafell.
Or you can go
All
to
right.
DannyCalafell.com. I mean,
There you go.
it's there.
There you go. We'll do that. Thank you very much, Danny. And as well as our last question, or last question right here. Is there anything I didn't ask you about, or something that you really wanted to share, or something that we didn't touch on that you were really excited to share and we didn't get to today?
No, I mean, you covered it. I mean, I'm here for you and your viewers and people who follow you. I mean, whatever it is that you asked me, I'm sure that was questions that you had lined up that you wanted to convey to them.
Hmm.
I just came on here to enjoy this conversation, and I appreciate it. And like I said, I hope this was able to be very valuable to you and your
I'm
followers. And
I'm excited. I get to spend some time with you, Danny. It's been fun. I've been enjoying being in your network this year, learning a little bit more about you. And every time I hear you speak, I'm like, oh yeah, there's a few more nuggets here and there I'm going to write down. And I have a feeling at some point we'll end up talking again and see how to stay in your network. And then for those that are interested, what's it like working with Grant, Grant Cardone? What's that guy like?
well, I don't work with him directly.
Yeah, but
I deal with
his
Jared and
his
the other
whole
guys.
organization.
Just the
It's a
whole
big company,
organization,
man.
man. I mean,
Yeah.
it's great. I mean, I'll say this. So I lined up with him and the company
Hmm.
because they fit exactly. It was a perfect fit. You're putting together a puzzle, and it was
Hmm.
just the first try. Just that piece fit right in.
Yeah.
And it's like, I had a lot of things in line. I wanted to expand a lot more on, especially on the sales training side and the business programs and everything. And I was looking for a while for somebody like Grant,
Mm-hmm.
transparent, straightforward, honest, straight to the point, you know, not having to sugarcoat anything, not having to pretend to be somebody.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's what I was looking for, because that's how I am. Those are my core values. And it was very hard to find. And when I went to one of his seminars, I brought my VP, who's my father. I brought my VP with me. And we sat there and I was like, hey, what do you think about this, Dad? And he was like, I like him. And I was like, all right, I want to partner up with him. I was like, what do you think? And he was like, go for it. So just one thing led to another.
Yeah.
And it's great because it enabled now, uh, not only for name recognition, but it's not even, it wasn't even more so for that. Cause I don't like, yes, it's important, but to me, like, it was more so the actual resources that could really do some serious helping, you could say,
Yeah. Yeah.
to a lot of people who really need it.
I
And
love
I'm
the
sure you're
10x.
familiar with. You said
I
that he
love
was on a
10x
podcast
and
of
his
yours.
coaching, and
Yeah,
yeah, 10x and coaching and all the training that he provides. And a lot of us are commercial real estate investors. However, we're business owners, we're entrepreneurs, we are professionals at W2, and we're investing our money. And all of the mindset coaching and self-development stuff that he has is really solid. So coaches like yourself that are working with him and involved in and partner with one or the other is good to spend some time with. And I just appreciate all the opportunities. Appreciate it.
nobody. I could say this, man. Nobody could come close to the results that we put forth, and it was very hard to find that. I could tell you that, because it's. I looked, and I looked hard.
Yeah, right on. Well, hey, brother, it's been a pleasure having you, and thank you very much for taking a few minutes with us. Thank you. I'm humbled, grateful, appreciative, and let's just keep the conversation going. So, thank you very much, Danny. I appreciate it, brother.
Thank you for having me again, man. I appreciate that.
All right. For everyone listening, we'll see you on our next show. My name is Abel Pacheo. I'm your host. We hope you enjoyed something. We would encourage you, if you did, go reach out to Danny, go reach out to his company, his business. He'd be delighted to hear you. I'd be blessed to hear that you heard him on our podcast. So make sure to ping him. And then also like, subscribe, rate, review our podcast. It helps a ton. We just want to get some really great guests for you, and we'll just keep learning. So thank you very much, everyone, and appreciate your time. Thanks a lot, Danny.
Thank you. Take
Bye-bye.
care.